Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his wonderful pastimes, utilized his most sacred mercy to reveal to the world the glories of his devotees. Throughout the Leela of the Lord, we find the qualities and the glories of the Lord's devotees. But those devotees, their preference is always to remain in a very humble position. When Lord Chaitanya was traveling through South India, it was actually at this time of the year, Chaturamasya, the rainy season. He stopped in Sri Rangam, and there he decided to remain there for the 4 months of the rainy season. So when Lord Chaitanya went to this place, the largest temple in all of the world, he began to have his kirtan, chanting and dancing before the beautiful deity of Sri Radhanath. And he met one Brahmin. His name was Gopal Bhatta. And this Brahmin was actually one of the head priests of the temple. And to this day, his descendants are still the head priests of the temple. He invited Lord Chaitanya to his home. And when Lord Chaitanya came, Gopal Bhatta offered him his family, offered him his house, offered him his very life. Lord Chaitanya at that time was a great sannyasi. And Gopal Bhatta washed the lotus feet of the Lord. And then he drank that water. And then he shared it with his family. There were 3 brothers, Trimala Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, and the 3rd brother was Prabodhananda, who later became Prabodhananda Saraswati. So they all drank the water that washed the lotus feet of the Lord, and then they gave to Gopal Bhatta's son, who was just a small boy. His name was Gopal, or Gopal Bhatta. And when he saw his parents and his uncles so much worshipping the Lord, and when he drank the water of the Charanamrit, immediately upon drinking that Charanamrit, his heart just overflowed with ecstatic love of Krishna. This little boy's eyes were flowing with tears of ecstasy, and his whole body was trembling and shivering in ecstatic love. And from that moment, he could not give up the association of Lord Gauranga, even for a moment. When one has love, the nature of that love is the desire to serve. Love is not stagnant. Srila Prabhupada explains, you never see pictures of gopis sitting in lotus posture with their eyes closed. The gopis are all either churning butter or milking cows or dancing or singing or playing instruments. They are always doing some service. This is love. Love is to serve. Love is to make sacrifices of yourself for the object of your love. So Gopal Bhatta, he just became so happy to serve the Lord. And his father, Gopal Bhatta, it was the joy of his life to see his son enthusiastic to serve this great sannyasi, Lord Chaitanya. Gopal Bhatta understood that Lord Chaitanya was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was revealed to him gradually. So he told his son Gopal that this is the most important part of your life. You serve Lord Gauranga. So he would serve him throughout the day, and he would serve him throughout the night. And his love was so pure. And the purity of love is when we are not concerned with our own happiness, but we are concerned with the happiness of the object of our love. This is devotion. Gopal was thinking that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. He's the Lord of Srimati Radharani, Brajendra Nandana Kumar. And just for the sake of delivering the fallen souls, he has renounced his own eternal consort. He has cut off his beautiful hair, and he has taken the robes of an ascetic, performing austerities. And for the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, to see Lord Chaitanya in this role of a sannyasi is simultaneously ecstatic to see what is the extent of his mercy and renunciation, but it is also very painful. So he would cry, he would weep privately. When he was with the Lord, or when he was with his family members, he tried to somehow or other appear composed and render nice service. But whenever he was alone, he would lament, he would weep bitterly, and he would begin to pray that why? Why is providence so cruel? Why did I have to take birth in such a faraway place where I could not see the beautiful pastimes of the Lord in Navadvip, where he was with his eternal consort, and he was sowing the pastimes of the Supreme Enjoyer amongst his most intimate associates, chanting the holy names of the Lord. His heart was burning with the fire of lamentation in the ecstasy of love. And then he began to forgive Providence. Actually, Providence, it is not your fault. It is all my fault. It is due to my misdeeds that I have been born in this faraway place, and I did not see the Lord in his form of the enjoyer of Navadvip. One night, Gopal Bhatta had a dream. A wonderful dream where he was actually in Navadvip, and Lord Chaitanya was strolling down the streets along with Gopal Bhatta and amongst his other associates, and Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu. They very lovingly embraced little Gopal, and they began to tell him something very confidential. And just as they were about to speak, he woke up. And in great haste, the boy ran to where Lord Chaitanya was present, and he fell at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feet. Lord Chaitanya was sitting there with his shaved head, with his saffron robes, but in order to fulfill the desire of his devotee, right before Gopal Bhatta's own eyes, the Lord transformed into a cowherd boy with a beautiful, beautiful bluish complexion like that of a newly formed monsoon cloud. And when Gopal Bhatta saw this beautiful form, his heart began to tremble in ecstasy. And then, right before his very eyes, this beautiful bluish form of Gopinath gradually turned into a golden form, the form of Sri Navadvip Chandra, with beautiful, beautiful black hair curling over his shoulders. He had beautiful lotus eyes. His eyebrows were raised. His glance was such a glance that it would completely charm and conquer the hearts of all living beings. He had a wonderful, wonderful smile on his face. And when Gopal saw this, with tears in his eyes, he fell at the lotus feet of Lord Gauranga. And then he looked up, and Lord Chaitanya was again in his form as of a sannyasi. And he began to speak. He said, "Very soon you will go to Vrindavan. My instruction to you is your parents are pure devotees of the Lord. You stay home and you serve them. And when they leave this world, you should go to Vrindavan. And there you should become intimate friends and brothers with Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami. You will make disciples all over the world. And you will be the cause of distributing the books of Rupa and Sanatana throughout the world. And in this way, I will fulfill all of your desires." And then he told him that whatever you have seen and heard, you keep it confidential within your own heart. So from this time, Gopal Bhatta, with all of his desires fulfilled, he continued serving the Lord. But then the Chaturmasya was coming to an end, and both Gopal and his father and uncles were thinking that soon the Lord will leave us. What will we do? Who will we dance with? Who will we chant with? Who will bring thousands and millions of people to Sri Rangam? People were coming from all over South India to Sri Rangam just to dance and chant with Lord Chaitanya. And he was giving them all ecstatic love. Who will we sit with? Who will we hear Krishna Katha from? Who will we give prasad and joke with? In this way, every moment that was approaching was becoming more and more painful to them, because the Lord was going to leave. And before the Lord left, he reconfirmed to Gopal Bhatta that all of his desires will be fulfilled.
You were listening to Radhanath Swami. on thesacredconnect.com.